this has been something that really started this spring and really ramped up about midsummer. Right in the spot where I'm sitting right now, I've seen spice being sold and bought literally right outside the window of my rig. We don't do anything about that. We're not law enforcement. Our role is to help people who've been overcome by it. That's what we do. I don't see anybody that looks either really drunk or impaired in any way. You know, this is not the kind of weather that you want to be laying around in, drunk and unable to take care of yourself.
Ready, Brad, call yellow to assist truck 1 on location for possible overdose spice.
Thanks, truck 1 on Spice is very unpredictable, and people think that it's a fun recreational drug that they can use without any consequence. And what we've been seeing this year is that that's not true.
You're diabetic? Okay.
You're smoking an unknown chemical compound, and the effects are all over the map.
No way.
All right, hey.
With Spice, it just keeps changing all the time.
Let's go.
Over the last 3 months, we've seen varieties of spice, and possibly we've seen it adulterated and cut with something else, maybe formaldehyde, we don't know.
Calm down. Right?
This is always kind of difficult. We've got a pretty reliable report that both of these guys were smoking some sort of bad marijuana, which is probably spice.
Green trench coat. He's walking south on D Street towards me.
Not real comfortable with him walking away, but I didn't see grounds to restrain him and risk injury to him or to our people. For someone who's able to fight and to look both ways before he crosses the street, and stay on his feet and kind of care for himself. So that's the risk we're taking, is can he care for himself? The spice calls have also been occurring sometimes in clusters. You'll get 2 or 3 people that are smoking together, and they'll all go down one after another. And so we'll end up sending 2 and 3 ambulances downtown from different areas of town and fire engines with them to support that.
Anchorage Fire Department. There's lots of times that we will not have enough resources to go to a lot of different calls because we have so many tied up on the spice users.
So
Truck 1 and medic,
we have
been. Call possible spice.
So we have been stripping a lot of resources to go down and co-respond with downtown units.
Well, you're not acting appropriate. You can sit here, but people are worried about you.
She was just sitting there, and she didn't look well at all.
Did you smoke any spice today?
Kind of leaning down, like playing with her hair, and then she just dropped her bag of cigarettes and was just like out.
She's clearly impaired by something.
What's your address?
It doesn't really look like a medical condition. It looks like she's intoxicated or impaired. And what fits most is spice. This is kind of what it looks like. So they're having a drug that's cheaper than alcohol, and more effective in the short term than alcohol. And it also seems that it's being brought and delivered down to them. That's what we think we're seeing.
Yeah, so we run on this guy pretty regularly. Last time we saw him was a couple days ago, and we actually had to sedate him because he became really violent for us. He was pretty far down on spice. Sedated him, ended up taking him to the hospital, and they admitted him and kept an eye on him there for a while until the spice wore off, and here we are a couple days later back out on the street again with him.
I was asleep.
You were just sleeping. They found a little baggie on you, so they were concerned that you were doing spice, okay?
And they've found this on him today. Spice. Pretty confident. It's marketed this way, and it looks like most of the spice that we found. And in the context of his behavior and the way he presents, it's safe to assume that it's probably spice.
You need to go get checked out, okay?
No, I don't. I'm not leaving on the journey, dude.
The spice that we were used to running on a year ago or 2 years ago or even 6 months ago in this case, it's not the same. We're seeing people now that are having much more violent reactions to it, up to the point where they aren't able to control their own airway, and the effects of the spice are much more pronounced and much more deadly than the spice of yesterday, if you will.
The report of a 69-year-old male found unconscious, not breathing.
When you come to work for your third 24-hour shift in a 5-day period and you're going on these calls for alcohol abuse and spice, it's the same population of people. How are you feeling? It's not what any healthcare provider wants to do.
Doing okay.
We're troubled by it. You doing okay? Have you been smoking spice? The 911 emergency medical system is intended to deal with emergency patients.
Lean forward a little bit. There you go. Really good. Really good.
But that's not much of what we do. Much of what we do is centered around routine calls that involve alcohol abuse or substance abuse. And it can be a challenge.